then what does matter? If it's not, because most people, and I meet a lot of people at this point, very successful people, and whether they say it or not, underneath, they do care about what people think of them. They behave in a certain way, whether it's close family, it's business competitors, it's this actor or that singer. They do care about how the audience perceives them, for that matter. And I'll believe you. I'll say, okay, Daniel, you say you don't care about what people think. I believe you. Then what do you care about?
Yeah, I will tell you, but I'll delve into that, because the reality of that's an evolution with age. In my 20s, I cared very much what people thought about me. Very much. I think most of us do. That was my experience. I really cared. I wanted to be perceived as a good player, all these types of things. In my 30s, I sort of was like, yeah, I didn't think I cared, but I still cared. Right. In my 40s, started to care a little less. And now that I'm 50, I don't give a fuck. I really don't. I have the life that I always wanted. I have, the beautiful wife. I love, the home. I have the lifestyle. And like, if you don't like me and you want to judge me, the chances are that I wouldn't want to have dinner with you either. If you don't get me and you don't understand me, then we probably wouldn't be friends. Yeah, because like my wife, one of the things I love about her, she sort of helped me be this again. It's just like, she just likes authenticity. She doesn't care if you're a mess, you're a drug addict, you're this, as long as you're real. She can't stand the fake people. Oh, hi, so good to see you. Did you see what she's wearing? She can't do that fake stuff. And so with, having her on my side as a support system makes me just like way more confident being myself. And listen, when you're in the public eye, whoever you are, I think someone said something like you either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. You ever heard that phrase?
Yeah, of course, yes.
So the idea is like eventually people will have a reason to take you down from the top. And if you're fragile, it can crush you. But for me, like I said, I mean, I actually take it as a sign of respect, because generally speaking, when they come at me, they're coming at me for a reason, right? They're not punching down. They're trying to punch up.
Right.
So I let it go.
What is also very interesting is if I think about the psychological motivations of any person, and particularly an athlete or somebody who plays poker for that matter, I can see them caring about wanting to be the best. I can see any professional athlete wanting to care about like being the best. And you see that jokingly with Phil Hellmuth, and I give him grace for how well he plays and the personality that he is, but you don't seem to care about that as much. And you'll happily offer it to your friend, this friend or that person in the history. They were the GOAT, they were the best player. You don't really care about that.
I went down a different path. So I do care about that. I mean, I did, especially when I was young, I wanted to be. There was a sort of a path where myself and Phil Ivey, who are, like I said, good friends, we're very different in a lot of ways. Poker started getting popular, a little bit on TV, and we had opportunities, both of us. We could, make a name for ourselves, create a brand maybe, whatever. He was not into that. He was just pure killer. He's like, I'm going to the table, I'm sitting my butt in the chair, and I'm playing till I make the money, right? I saw an opportunity in a different way. So I started to get involved more in sort of becoming an ambassador type to the game. And when you do that, now your focus is kind of split. I'm still trying to be the best poker player I can, but I'm balancing that with something else where he wasn't. He was 24/7 just poker. And that's very, that's kind of what you have to do to devote yourself. And I was there. I was, for most of my career, I was number one on the all-time money list.
Right.
Now, there's huge buy-ins, whatever. And I no longer need that anymore. I still love to compete at the highest levels, but I became successful. There's a boxer, I can't remember what his name was, but he said, someone said, did you still find it difficult to get up for a fight? And he says, well, it's a lot harder to make that 4 a.m. run in silk pajamas. Like once you become successful, probably one of the hardest things is to stay there. And I've taken pride in the fact that I have gone in the lab. I've learned from the younger generation. I don't poo-poo them in dismay and say, oh, I'm an icon, I'm a legend, you guys are. No, I want to learn from them too. I enjoy that as well. But I'm not in a case where I'm 22 and I've got 10 hours a day to sit in front of, solvers and computers to get good. I've passed that point in my life. That's not something that, is of interest to me anymore. I have a balanced life now. I enjoy a lot of different things.
I'm sure it's also extremely hard to retain your success as a poker player. There is this fellow, I don't know if you know about him. His name he goes on Twitter at Brute de Force, and he's a gambler. That's his professional life. I think that's different from poker, but he's a gambler, sports betting, all that. And he does these very interesting spaces. And the reason I'm bringing him up is because he kind of speaks like a philosopher, but like a gambler philosopher. And that's very distinct from a different kind of philosopher, whatever that might be. Jordan Peterson is one of those guys. It's very different. And he talks about like the ups and downs in life as being much more frequent than anybody who's working a career. Anybody who's in a job will have a gradual incline. Anybody with a business will have some ups and downs, but a gambler will have serious ups and downs. When you're playing poker, you have serious ups and downs. And it's just very interesting to me, the fact that you have to live with, man, I hit it out of the park, and man, I got hit in the face. And that could happen all within 24 hours. Up and down, back and forth, up and down, back and forth. And so I wonder, like, it's probably very hard to maintain what you've got maintained, or a lifestyle that fits your childhood dreams as a poker player.
You're not wrong. It's a very high stress environment, right? Because like I said earlier too, you can do all the right things and still be losing, and you talk about like when you have to pay bills and pay rent, that makes the whole process even more difficult. And the thing is, it takes a special kind of person to be able to deal with that, right? When your back's against the wall, what happens to you? Do you thrive or do you crumble? I always thrived. I kind of liked it. I liked adversity. I'm like, all right, bring it. Let's go. I enjoyed it. It was sort of romantic for me, the early days of going broke and rebuilding and, just on the ups, like climbing the ladder, if you will. But it's not for everyone, because most people are not able to deal with that sort of stress where they don't have a paycheck that looks the same-ish every month, right? And especially for those that play tournament poker. If you play cash games, you just play cash games, you can go play 40 hours a week. You're going to make roughly the same, every year, every month. You play tournaments, it can be like big score and then long time no eat, right? And the problem with that is all of a sudden, say someone has a big score that elevates their bankroll from 30,000 to 500,000. Okay. Well, they're in a new stratosphere. They have this new idea of, everything's great. And sometimes they can become complacent. They can spend more than they're supposed to. And oopsie doopsie. Then they go on a bad run and it's all gone.
Yeah.
Like, there's a false sense of, this is the new norm, and it's only those that have been through the trenches for many years who've seen, no, you have to cherish those moments because they're few and far between. When you play poker tournaments, you lose usually.
Yeah.
You don't win usually.
It's thousands of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I mean, let's say, for example, the top 15% make money, right? And you're one of the best players. You'll make more, you'll do it more than 15%, but probably like 25, 30%. So that means 70% of the time you buy in, you put your 10,000 down, boom, it's gone. You lose. So you actually have to build that muscle of getting accustomed to losing. And then having that, for me, like I said, that sort of internal introspective view of like, all right, what did I do in this tournament that worked really well? Okay, what did I do that maybe didn't work and it's something I can work on? Okay, you know what? Maybe I could start trying this. So for me, I always look at it as a challenge. Losing, like I said, allows me the opportunity for breakthroughs where I can sort of see things differently. And again, like I said, when you're winning, people don't usually like think of like, I need to fix something. You're just whatever. Yeah, it's
right.
easy.
It's easy. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
Right. No, I get that bit. अगर आप हमारी इन विचित्र अचित्र कहानियों का और किस्सों का और बातों का हिस्सा बनना चाहते हैं, तो आपको यहाँ पे PGX क्लिप्स चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि यहाँ हम पोस्ट करते हैं हमारी कॉन्वर्सेशन के बेस्ट, मोस्ट इंटरेस्टिंग, मोस्ट वाइल्ड, मोस्ट इंटेलेक्चुअली रेजोनेटिंग मोमेंट्स. So press the bell icon, press the subscribe button, spend some time with us.